My name is Precious, and one of my bachelor's of science is in psychology. Today, we're going to talk about the neuroscience of discipline, how to get things done even when you don't feel like it. You know that feeling when you want to be productive, but you just can't seem to start? Or when you start something with full energy and then you completely fall off track the next day? If I told you that this isn't just laziness or lack of motivation, it's your brain chemistry in action. Most people actually assume that discipline is about personality and that some people are born with it and while others are not, which is not exactly true. Discipline is less about who you are and more about how your brain is wired and trained. It involves multiple brain regions. I'm going to touch on three. First one is your prefrontal cortex, which is your decision making and impulse control center. Second is your dopaminergic system, which governs motivation and reward. Third one is your anterior cingulate cortex, which helps you detect error and helps you adapt to change. What you label as procrastination or lack of motivation is just your brain chasing dopamine from easier and more instant rewarding tasks. Dopamine is often misunderstood. It's not the reward itself, it's the neurotransmitter that motivates you to pursue the reward. So when your brain expects a reward like checking your phone or binge watching Netflix, it releases dopamine, which creates a sense of drive. But when the reward is delayed or effortful, so things like working out, studying, or even building your future, the dopamine release isn't as instant. This means that you have to train your brain to crave long-term rewards. And that takes intention. Our science research actually shows that delayed gratification is a skill that you can build by activating your prefrontal cortex consistently in small choices. So McClure et al. In 2004 showed that each time you choose discipline over distraction, you reinforce the neural pathways that support long-term focus. Another key insight is that dopamine is not just about pleasure, it's about anticipation. And you learn to associate effort with meaningful outcome, even if the reward is far off. You build a more sustainable motivational loop. This is how people stay consistent over time, even when there are no immediate results. The exciting part is that the brain is not fixed. It changes based on how you use it. This is called neuroplasticity. If you constantly give into distractions, your brain gets better at getting distracted. But if you train it to follow through on difficult things, it adapts to that instead. So your habits shape your brain structure over time. So discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a neural pathway. It's like a muscle, one that grows through practice and repetition. In fact, studies on habit formation shows that with consistent repetition, synaptic efficiency increases in surface responsible for task initiation and follow through. In other words, the more you do the hard thing, the more neurologically it becomes easier and simpler over time. Even 5 minutes a day of focused effort can begin to reshape your brain. And over weeks and months, those small actions compound into massive transformation. So now let's talk about how to build it. The first is make it easier to start. So your brain naturally resists big and uncertain tasks. Break it into micro steps. So instead of saying things like write the paper, just write, or tell yourself, open the document. This is super easy, which makes you more prone to start the paper. The second one is use dopamine intentionally. Reward yourself after completing something hard. Over time, your brain begins to link the effort with reward. The third one is create friction around distractions. So make Netflix or Instagram or TikTok harder to access. This reduces the impulsive dopamine-seeking behaviors. The fourth step is anchor habits to routines. Your brain loves patterns. Attach the task to a trigger like brushing your teeth or finishing your lunch. Number 5 is visualize your future self. Hershfield et al. In 2011, brain scans actually show that imagining your future self activates similar neurocircuits as seeing someone that you love. This is so helpful because it helps bridge the gap between now and later. The sixth step is track your consistency, not just your outcomes. Use a habit tracker or journal to remind your brain that action in itself is a win. and that consistency matters more than intensity. Okay, now the 7th key step is sleep, nutrition, and movement matter. Your prefrontal cortex, which is the side of your brain that is responsible for executive function, responds best when it's nourished, rested, and active. So discipline does not live in isolation. It's built on your physical state too. There are days I don't feel like doing anything either, but the truth is I remind myself that the brain I'm building today is the life I'll live tomorrow. So discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional, about choosing to show up even when it's inconvenient. Every hard thing you push through is literally rewiring your brain to handle more. You're not weak for struggling. You're growing every time, so don't give up. Your future self is counting on you, so build the brain that it needs. I will be linking all the references I use for this video in the caption below. And also, thank you so much for watching. That is all for this video. Let me know if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns, and let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to further expand on. Bye!